So get some comments so I can see that. Okay, we're live, right? Okay, nice. Hi, everyone. I already see some familiar faces in the chat. It's all cool. And so all you know that that's original me. I got my cap because some of the people on Instagram said that the person without the cap is my evil twin brother. Yes, it's me. It's me originally. Okay, anyway, guys, thanks for joining. And in this webinar, I'll basically go quickly about the masterclass update, what we will have there, what features do we have. I will try to keep it short and simple because I would like to have more time for questions, as I have another call that I would need to join in 1 hour. So I'll try to make it really, really quick. So let's start with the presentation. I got small agenda consisting of 2 points actually. The masterclass update will be featuring some rig updates which we had, and thanks Matt Goat Studio for that one, for patiently implementing all the features that I want because it's really like complicated stuff sometimes, and we really need to take some time to fix that and import it into the rig. And after that, I'll talk a little bit about card input, which we have in the update, because I think the card input will be like the completion of this masterclass, and basically that will be like making it complete. So I'll start presenting right now. I'll share the screen, and I hope I will be able to see what I'm actually doing and to see your comments at the same time. Hopefully nothing will break in this case. Oh, frankly enough, it did break. Okay, nice. So what is concerned about the rig, which we have there? There are a few nice features that we have. I hope the stream is smooth and all going good. So besides all the parameters that we had before, we now have a few more, which is like caster, which is defining. I will turn on the controllers so that will be easier to see. So we have now caster, not only camber, which we had before, which allows you to change the camber of the wheel and making like some legendary cars, with a wheel which is like really like cambered. But also we have the caster setting, which gives us the opportunity to, when during the steering wheel, to make the wheels also lean towards the turning point, because like for example this is done in such cars like Mercedes or something like that. So by increasing the caster, steering will be affected by this thing. And yeah, basically you can make more like driftable cars, which will look cool. Also, now we have something like a lot of people probably won't notice, because this is like for nerds only. It's Ackerman angle. Oh my god, it's so hard to type this one. Yeah, Ackerman angle, which defines how much the outside wheel will be steered. As you can see right now, the outside wheel is not steered that much as the inside wheel, because this one is affected more. It's due to the construction of steering components that will look like that. And if we increase this one to 1, the outside wheel will not be affected by steering at all. And if it's like set to 0, both wheels will be turning the same angle when you use the steering controller. By default, it's set to 0.6. You can play around with this value, but this is definitely noticeable for some drift cars. And if you are making the drift car, you will be probably able to see both of the wheels at the same time in the front, and you'll see that the inside wheel is steering more than the outside wheel. Also, you can add multiple wheels right now. So I have here for you prepared the semi-truck, Unlike some people saying that it's not possible to make any other car except Porsche for the rig. It's totally untrue. You can make any car actually, done on the rig. So we have like this huge semi truck wheels attached. They are working. Also, they are working on the bumps and all other like shapes when you're driving around. So yeah, that will be working for all of the wheels. They will be responding to bumps and so on. Also, all the controllers are visible here, and they are reflecting all of the steering, and you can do whatever you want with the semi truck. So if we pick this one, we can move it around, and that all works. Also, this is actually CAD model, so there is also opportunity to hide the container, and this works really cool. And yeah, no performance issues whatsoever. It's moving really fast, and this is CAD model actually, which was imported. I downloaded some models from the GrabCAD website. There are some free models, but be careful if you are using some of them. They may be not useful for commercial purposes, but for learning purposes, this is just fine. You can import SolidWorks. You can import any other CAD files, like from Rhinoceros also, and you'll be even able to import CAD files from Alias software, the .wire files. I also explained that in the masterclass update, how to do that, because it has some complications. The only software which has the complications is Alias, and yeah, who could have thought, right, about that? So if we import any like track assembly here, and let's put it in CAD, and probably I'll create the new folder because I already have few models imported, so I would like to put it in the new one. We will be using Datasmith for that one. We'll put it on CAD, truck, OK, and that will import this one right into the scene. And that takes some time, depending on the amount of the parts, stitching, and all of that. And this is like ideal case scenario, right? When the car is like prepared, it may be rotated wrongly, but that's not a problem. You can always, fix that by rotating it minus 90 degrees or 90 degrees, because some of the software are using different axes for those purposes. And from this model, we'll be able to rig it in the masterclass. And just as I showed you, yeah, I will show the Lambo too, Philip. And this one we will be rigging also, because trucks is actually also a huge market, and it's not always about the supercars like crazy drifting and stuff. Sometimes you really can work and have these semi trucks, or like trucks also like do some commercials with them, and it's really a huge market also to step in. So why not to show you that, right? And this is ideal case scenario when you have about how much 1,000 hectares. It's not actually much. So in this truck assembly, we have around like, let's say 1,200 meshes. I will show you the process of shading also in the masterclass, how to make it shading a little bit easier and faster, because we are not going, one by one on each of those meshes, because that will take a lot of time. Anyway, shading like CAD files takes some time. It's really like pain, to be honest, pain in the ass, but the result totally worth it. And what is why I said this is ideal scenario, because sometimes the company, if they send you CAD file, it will have maybe 4,000 meshes, right? And it's absolutely crazy, and you need to clean it up. But the thing is, they will probably not give you the cleaned up model. They will scrap out the engine, the drivetrain, the like gearbox or something like that. They will scrap it out for 100%. But the problem is that they will not be cutting some bolts, which you don't see, some like stitching, or even there is like some glue sometimes as a geometry. and they will not clean that up for you. And the reason is because the alias, for example, alias license token will cost more just to run an open alias than your entire day of work. I think right now it's like about $500 per token just for run the software, because they have the new system run for tokens. And they will be probably not bothering with the ask an engineer to clean it up and send you the cleared up model for you. So probably they will just give you the entire model with all of these details, and you will need to clean it up. And you really would need, to go inside, like look for something that you don't see, like, okay, there is like this nut, I don't want it because I'm not able to see that. So you just like delete this one, and so on and so on. So you'll spend a lot of time on the real actual CAD model to fix that one and scrap it out. But yeah, as I said, the company will not bother giving you the proper cleaned up model. Sometimes it's a miracle, they can give it to you already cleaned up and prepared, but most of the time you will just receive the raw data, right? So you will not be able to have the clean model which doesn't have anything. So let's delete this one. And the best part of this update, that we will not only make it rigged and drivable, also that will be pretty much nicely optimized. And this CAD model of the Lambo, which I also got from CAD, it's also nanite, and it runs perfectly without any performance issues whatsoever. I don't know how smooth it is right now on your screens, but it just runs crazy good. So yeah, I think I can even like enable FPS. So yeah, it's like 50 FPS, but it's like the best settings for Lumen, which is also a huge part which we will be covering in this module. There will be like update on Lumen settings, making it all looking great, because like by default there are a few issues which you may notice, like there's some weird reflections with the default volume. The glass is there, but you can't see it, so you need to set up the settings for this purpose to make it look good, and so on and so on. So there are a lot of things to cover and make it look like this, like straight out of the camera. It will be looking absolutely fantastic. And this is Lumen, and it runs like around 50 FPS, but obviously for the render you can make it even higher quality. So I think this is it. It's a little bit of, I would say, things which I've prepared for the overview. And maybe let's jump into questions, because I really want you to communicate more and probably get some feedback from me. I'll wait while we'll get some proper questions, because I was told I will be getting the questions. They will be there. What is the experience on using substrate? First one, I think that it just doesn't worth the fuss right now, and it will convert all your project into the substrate project, and all of your materials will be changed into substrate. And what I found out, like dealing and tweaking, and it's just too much time spent to make it work. It's still unstable. It results in a lot of crashes, and it doesn't look very different from the basic automotive pack. You can tweak automotive materials from the automotive pack to look as good as the substrate, but I still don't think and don't believe that substrate is worth the time spent for optimization. And speaking for optimization purposes, that is much, much more performance costly, and it's like much harder to work with that. So currently, I don't think it is good, but when it goes out from the experimental, we will definitely cover this too. What about Data Smith from LS Engineer? There is a way to import alias like file, .wire file into Unreal, which is actually working pretty good. I was surprised, and it's really fine. And it has different materials already assigned to geometry. We will go through that also on the masterclass. There is like a proper way to set it up, make Unreal recognize .wire file, and import it straight to Unreal with all the settings from Alias. And you don't actually need to pay for the license for Alias in that case. Yeah, it's available on the by itself on the Epic Store. You can reach to MadGoat Studios and get it. It lacks certain functionality, but yes. How to set up headlight and tail light animation? You mean those like the Porsche has, like when it's like going like a strip, right? If this is the thing, then you probably need to check. I've seen a few videos on YouTube how to make that, because it relies on UV maps, and when you're preparing the mesh for Unreal, you need to create the specified UV mesh. I actually did that for Mitsubishi commercial, because one of the Mitsubishi cars had this like light strip, blinker turn signal when it goes like this, and you need to animate that, and you need to prepare the like proper UV map so it will be unwrapped this way, and when it goes like that, you just animate the material and it works. But yeah, definitely that's more about modeling, not about visualization or animation. It's like modeling part. Uh, Most of the fog is easy fog, which is done by Willem Faucher. This is the fog which I'm using the most, combined with height fog, which is set to volumetric. And in past tracing renders, it looks really, really nice. In the input of CAD in the data smith, there is a setting which has stitching, and when you pick the stitching, you need to check which one works best for current CAD software. Stitching soon is working fine, but if you're, for example, importing rhinoceros, it offers you not to tessellate in Unreal, because by default it's set like tessellate in Unreal, like import NURBS and tessellate in Unreal. But there is also an option to import meshes, but it's only working at, I think, for rhinoceros software. But in other settings, you need to define it by setting up type of the stitching. Is it sewing? And you need to set up the amount for like normalization. I don't remember the parameter right now, but it's there. You can pick it up and select which one you will use for this purpose. And yeah, it works pretty fine. I didn't have any issues like on my main work when we got data from the engineers, or when I downloaded some models from GrabCAD. That worked fine. Multiple cameras and shots in sequencer. Casey, my approach to that one, that I do that just like on a real film shot, right? So you have the camera and you have the take. So you film the take, that's take one. That another take, it's take two. I never put multiple shots into one sequence. I do that only sometimes when Unreal bugs and just it crashes when it finishes one render and jumps into another sequence, right? And because of that, I sometimes put all of them into one master sequence and render it that way, just like adding the shots. But there is a problem with that, because it doesn't do the warm up count in that case. I think they actually fixed that in 5.53, that it does the warm up count for each shot. But I prefer to set it up as each individual shot with one camera in it and render it as like EXR sequence, because most of the time when you're working on production, they would require EXR sequence for the better color grading or compositing, because it has multi-layer and so on. So yeah, I put each single sequence with its own camera and render just like a bunch of sequences. I never use master sequence except of the case as just mentioned that Unreal crashes. It's already up to date, but not with the CAD update. I'm still recording that one. The CAD update. I hope that it will be uploaded next week, right? Because I'll finish it next week, and I hope it will be uploaded. It just takes some time to prepare that, put it into all this huge table of the content which we have for the masterclass. But the rig is already updated. It's already there with all new features and explanation video with all new features. Oh, Ali, you're welcome. I'm really happy that you enjoy it. Yes, I'm going to cover that one because you can actually fix broken normals in Unreal, but misaligned UVs probably not. But handling heavy assembly, like for example, this truck which I showed you, I shaded it pretty quickly. I think like it took me maybe 1 hour to do so. I also will show you how to optimize that, how to prepare that. Some of the techniques may look like strange, but it doesn't matter. It's not stupid if it works, right? So yes, I will cover fixing inconsistent UVs, fixing like normal maps, not only normal maps, not UVs. So yeah, that will be covered. Darren, I actually explained that on the masterclass. I can't tell you right now because it will be probably like 30 minutes to prepare and to explain how to do that. So yeah, it's actually explained in the masterclass. Most of them rendered in path tracing. Some shots are rendered in Lumen when it is possible to have it. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't look that good, or sometimes if it's like dark environment, yeah, that can definitely be done in Lumen. But I already have seen some commercials like Luca actually did really cool Alpine video. You can check it on YouTube, and it was completely done in Lumen, and that looks very impressive. And currently, I'm working on one project which will be released probably in end of April, which is rendered full Lumen. And yeah, I will probably post that on my Discord when it's finished because it's like a big deal. Yeah, it looks really impressive in Lumen. I can't talk much about it, but it's Lumen. Dust particles, most of the time it's compositing because if you're rendering in Lumen, it doesn't look good. If you render that in path tracing, it just takes years to render. It's really faster and much cheaper to hire a composer who will add some dust particles, like maybe rain particles. We actually did like really, really cool stuff with the rain on composure stage in Nuke. It's just like faster and easier to do that one. You can use Kick Up Effects, it's called. I think that's the plugin for Unreal. It has a lot of like particles, presets like water, dust, and mud. You can use this one. It's fairly fine. I think it's made mostly for games, but you still can attach it to the rig and do the animation. I think this one was already asked, and I responded to this one. So let's go to the next question. Uh, I think it's just like Wayne. I think this is just the opportunity which you can use. You just like drop the mesh straight into Unreal without like using any other software. You can definitely go with a 3D software like 3ds Max or Blender and fix something there. But why not? If you can do that straight in Unreal, fix all the normals, shade it, right away and turn it in the proper position, rig it right away. And this just eliminates those, like, multiple steps of going back and forth. For example, if you have fixed something in Blender, then import it in Unreal, and then you notice, oh, I forgot this part, or I didn't do that, and you need to go back to Blender, export it again, import it back to Unreal, and do this, like, this circle there and back. So I think it's really nice to just import it straight to Unreal and work with that one. Alt, yes, I think expert troubleshooter. That would be more precise, description, because there's a lot of things like which just pisses me off, and I need to fix that. I need to make it work. I need to keep with the pace of the project, and this expert troubleshooter is actually called technical consultant. Yes, I think I do more of that, but I still love to animate. I work on a lot of shots for animation. I really love doing that, and it's just like those troubles are happening when you want to create something cool and you stumble upon something and you need to make it cool and make it work. So there is like the troubleshooter part kicks in. um how long did it take? I would say like that. I did one render in Lumen of the Mustang actually driving on city sample. I made it look good. I color graded that because I have the color grading background. Like, I was the DI colorist for 4 years, and that actually helps well to sell the renders. I got those. I showed that to like some people who work in the industry, and I got invited in the post production house. So I was working in post production house before I started like my freelance journey, right? So I already worked on multiple things, and with those like clients and those like massive projects which we had on the post house, it was easier, to get and land the job. I started my YouTube, and let's say my freelance started from the YouTube, because gaining experience working constantly in Unreal just gives you, one step further. So you're one step ahead than other people because you're working constantly only in one software. I made YouTube video of this McLaren commercial which I remade, and it took probably like 1 month in total. So the director of this commercial noticed my work, and we are still working together with Alistair Clark, who is like responsible for all those cool movies I worked on, like Aston Martin and stuff like that. So I would say, like, realistically, from start to end, it took about a year, but I was working a year in post-production company. But about 6 to 7 months to gain some experience and apply my previous experience as a colorist and as a DOP into like 3D CGI space, and learn something enough to make a cool render which will give me the job. So 6 to 7 months without any prior knowledge of 3D or Unreal Engine whatsoever. Harry, yes, there is some blueprinting. There is like car preparation, and we are also going through some blueprinting preparation, some actions. Like, for example, you can enable disable brake lights, day running lights, burning brake rotor or like brake disc, and some functionality to turn off lights, maybe like changing the color also by just like clicking and selecting the option to change the color. Hi, Cedric. For any of those commercials works whenever. Yeah, we used render farm only once, but most of those are done in path tracing on my PC. I have 4090, 96 gigs of RAM, and i9 processor. All that done on this computer or like on multiple computers, depending of how many people working on the project. So, but I think it's like 2 to 4 PCs at the same time. I can't recall right now when we used and for what we used the render farm. I think it was something big. I think it was the project I can't talk about, but that was 6K fast tracing, and it was 2.5 minute video, and it was on a naked eye 3D huge screen. That one we used the render farm for. Um, Basically, we do the blockout, then we do the animatic, and based on the animatic, we start to fill the environment and scenes only based on what we see in the frame. So it most of the time it doesn't make sense to create a huge detailed environment, because this is resources, this is like the memory and so on. So we do the blockout, put like road or something to demonstrate where the car will go, and after that animatic is done, we are filling it with the details around like basically what we see in the frame. I haven't tried polygon flow yet. Nope, not yet. I really don't have any time for that one. Oh, nice. Francesco, wish you luck. All cool. I think it's Sure Motive MV. Oh, wait, it actually shows here in the settings. It's Sure MV7. They should pay me for this commercial. Sergio, I download them mostly from the CJ Trader or Sketchfab, which became Fab right now also. There are a lot of free models actually, and I think I posted on the channel also some like very cool, like super detailed Porsche 911 free model. It was incredible how cool it looks, and it considered that it was free. It was like really nice. So most of them come from there. Sometimes I buy models. Sometimes they are just like purchased by the company to compare them between each other, and you can use these models like for the renderings. Oh, Satvik, that was actually terrible. I just wanted to switch my career because I was working on the shit job, and I really just like started straight into Unreal, and I was spending I think about 16 17 hours per day like for half a year. It was crazy. I barely slept, but that was my dedication, my choice, just to leave the current job that I had before. And it was like in 2022, I think, if I remember correctly. If I recall correctly, yeah, it was 2022. And that's when I managed to leave the company I worked for and go to post-production house. But it was hard to spend so much time working, learning, and not leaving my house. But yeah, this is it. If you're starting the automotive animation now, how will you start, and what things will you do and to take care of? Mm, you mean if I started if I started doing car animation right now, probably I would be first thing I will be checking the camera movement, because the camera movement sells the most of the renders, and second thing is lighting and composition. If you're a photographer, you would probably not have this issue, but I notice a lot of people just don't know how the camera behaves, how it's real, and so on. So if you're just starting doing automotive, first of all, just take any movie like or any like car commercial, take one shot from this commercial and go frame by frame and just straight up copy that. You will understand how the camera works, how it feels natural. Yeah, sometimes they're like cool, incredible, like barely impossible shots, right? But the first thing to do is to learn lighting, composition, and camera movement to make it feel real. You don't need to make the photoreal render, right? You just need to trick the perception of the person who's watching at that. You don't need to like create photorealistic renders like Corona like or something like that. That will be just enough. For those who are thinking about enrolling into the masterclass, I have to say that I did it, and after that, I landed a job in an automotive brand. Wow! So you should really take this masterclass. That's not a question. That's straight up advertisement. Thank you, Alfredo. uh, I'm working with View Studio, yes, but not as like as an employer, right? I work with them. Um, I have like 9 to 5 job also, and I'm working as a freelancer. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. uh, you see, that's actually a good question. How do I feel about distributing educational material on the internet for free? Um, the thing is that by doing this, I want to make a market, right? So more companies, more like freelancers or like post-production houses will lean towards Unreal, and there is like already like people working in it. And the more work we have in this field, the more work I receive. So yeah, basically that will create a market. It will be not only like doing it for free, but basically it creates the market, and more companies will enter this market, and more job will be available in this field. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Fixing the headlight glass will be fixed. Yes, I think I go through that in the 5.5 description update, how to set it up and be working like properly. I think it's already was fixed also by the developers of Unreal Engine, because there was some terrible things happening with the ray trace translucency, and it was looking really bad. Right now, it's much better. Satvik, as I already mentioned in the previous question, the best skill that you can have is for like visualization, right? Because it's mostly for visualization. You are not like engineer or something. You can get the free model, put it in, but if you can't like frame it perfectly, like frame it like realistically looking good, so you need lighting, composition, and the camera work. That's the main thing. It's not only enough to shade the car or like make it drive. You need to make it appealing, make it look appealing. This is the experience DOPs have, and this is the best thing to learn: lighting, composition, and camera work. I use real lens profiles sometimes when there is like stitching between real footage or and virtual production, where you have the like real camera, and then the shot transitions into CGI shot. Right. For that case, I have to use the real profile with the real sensor size and focal length. What's my take on sound design? I'm bad at sound design. I'm bad at editing. Have you seen my videos on YouTube? They're just like basic straight cut. I really can't stand doing like any editing. It just takes too much time, and it doesn't feel exciting for me. I think that sound design really matters. It's a very crucial part, and probably people will forgive you for the bad picture, but never for the bad sound, right? So if you have the bad sound, nobody's going to watch your videos. And where to pick those sounds? I pick most of them on artlist.io. They also should pay me for that one. Or I just like go on YouTube, find some cool commercial, download the audio and put it in. So mix it a little bit. Is there a way to use denoiser without losing the texture grains in 5.5? There is an update with a new like denoiser they have introduced. I think it's N4 denoiser or something like that. But I don't use denoiser. I will show you how to use denoiser in DaVinci to make it look a little bit cleaner, but keep that grainy footage, which I really, really love in renders of path tracing. But denoiser and path tracing generally just destroys all the flakes, for example, on the car paint and so on. I don't use it. How's that going? I don't have any new questions, or we have still 20 minutes. How much is the general CGI per minute rates in your city country? I never heard this ratio, right? So CGI per minute. I think it should be calculated per second. Like, I don't know. I basically work hourly rate or I work like project wise. I never work like with this minute per like rate per minute per second. No. Most of the time it's day rate, hourly rate, or project wise. Any good video on advanced modeling tip? I think advanced modeling, that's something about CAD software. I don't know. I just like I'm doing the visualization part. I'm not like super skilled in modeling. I do visualization, camera work, lighting, but about this one, probably you should try plasticity. That's CAD software, which is relatively cheap, and there are a lot of tutorials on this one, especially about creating cars also. What is the approximate estimate for the recent Aston Martin commercial? I'm not able to talk about that. Let's go to another one. What is the most interesting project you have done so far? I know there were a lot of them, and it's hard to choose. I think the recent Aston Martin Formula One video, that was pretty much exciting. Like the direction which was done on there, it's crazy. Like those ideas, that was really cool, and it was interesting to work. It's something special, like outer worldly, I'd say. That was tough to make, but yeah. Will a masterclass teach suspension rigging? I want to show the shock moving up and down. There is already like a rig with a suspension. I'll actually show you quickly. It's already working, and you don't have to model that one. You can just like open it straight up. Let me just like share the screen quickly, and I will demonstrate how that works. So here you will have the rig, and those like parts, they are moving and they are reacting too. So if I move this one here, you will see that the shock absorber is working there. Oh my god, you can't see in this mode. Okay, yeah, so there, and here we go, like that. And all the parts of the suspension are working. Also, if you add some burnout, all the driving axles will be rotated. See, so it's all working there. And if you steer to like that, yep, so straight away working like that. Next one. Oh, we have even like 12, 10 to 12 minutes that are left. What's the process of getting VDBs from Houdini? Do you animate your sequences first and then pass them to your VFX artist? Yes, that's correct. That's how you described. Animation first, sending that, and after that, put in the result back into Unreal and preparing this one. Oh, really? Am I? No, the microphone works. I just read the comment that's muted. Probably not me. When you expect the tire burnout VDB from Houdini into Unreal Engine, should I move my car animation to the Vault origin before exporting? You can put your car on the plane and your car will be relatively at zero position to this plane. And after that, you will import that one, attach it to a plane, and that should be at place. I think you get it, like what I meant, but that should be working. You just need to create the relative location, which will be zero. It doesn't have to be zero world location. Do you feel like it's busy in the industry currently? Are projects ramping up again, or it's still a slow down? I think it's good right now, but it just like comes in phases. Most of the projects are done between like October to December, and from January to basically May, and after that from June to August, it's just like nothing happens. Like most of those, like they would like to, by the end of the year, they would like to spend the budget that has been given, because in the other year they will not get this budget, and during the start of the year they have the money for other projects. So that's my understanding from working in BCG. I have trouble exporting the car animation with the rig when it's on the spline. Should I animate it without the spline? Any recommendation? Yeah, I also had this issue. Just attach it to camera rig rail. That works like a workaround. What's your choice of camera lens? Uh, it's not what about I prefer, but most of the time, um, that actually dictates the visualization. Like you have, for any company you work on, you have some guidelines, and they will give you the guidelines for the lens, like the focal length, right? But I feel that 55 to 75 works the best. The reason is, when you look at the car, you have to have this car actually looking, so the rear wheels are not, I will actually demonstrate that. I think that will be just easier to understand the workflow when you have it here. Sorry, I was in the dark, so I'll just like present quickly. Here we go. Allow. So the thing is, like when you have the camera actor, and if you are placing it in the front, you see the front is very big. The front wheel is bigger than the rear one, and in that case, if you go with like focal length about 75 millimeters and go further, you will see that it just like squeezes the scene, right? So your back of the car becoming more proportionate to the front one. And if you have wider lens and go closer, it just looks strange. It's just like the face is just like right here, and it's like looking like a toad, right? So it's better to go further and just like make it 55 millimeters or 75, so your wheels are almost at the same size. That really gives this feeling of uniformity of the car, and it's looking more balanced instead of having a very wide lens. You can use them for different purposes. Like for FPV shots, I'm using like about 12 millimeters, but for stills or for driving something like that, it usually comes from like 50 millimeters to like 75. It depends. It's about 4 to 6 weeks approximately. That's how much time it takes. What's my next goal in CGI? I don't know currently. Like, I'm working while it's still working. I think maybe someday I will be able not to work anymore and do the videos on YouTube, like more of them, just entertain people, do some cool advices and stuff like that. But currently, I'll just keep working, keep updating the masterclass. We'll be preparing the next masterclass for Houdini and Unreal, like implementation, how to make it work, how to make it drift, bake those, put that into Houdini, get it back from Houdini, put it in Unreal, render that in Unreal, or like other way around to make the workflow faster. So yeah, maybe at some point I will be a teacher in some university of the CGI school. Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, that's the question I just like explained. We will have separate masterclass for that one, but there will be like a bundle for those two masterclasses. So that will be much smaller. It's not like how many hours, like 18 hours we have right now. I think this complete masterclass, but this one will be shorter and will be focused on various things on how to bake those animations, how to prepare the Houdini simulations, and how to put that in Unreal and how to render or otherwise maybe compose that. I don't know yet, but I have the plan and I don't want to share it right now. Not Unreal related, but what's your favorite car? Skoda Scala. Do I pitch ideas, shots to clients, or do they usually have an exact storyboard in mind? I don't do that. I'm technical consultant, as you'd like professional troubleshooter. Um, my creative my creativity is very limited. Let's say, right? I'm more of like a technical or like a pipeline person. I develop pipelines. I create like fixes for some stuff. The pitching is done most of the time by like the director, like Confused, like I work. The Alistair does this tremendous job for pitching and all of the ideas, and me is there like, okay, cool, we're gonna do that. And sometimes clients just comes already with a storyboard or with their own director, and all I need is just to make it work and look as cool as possible. In the 4 6 week work period, where is the most of the time spent? I think for environment creation, that takes a lot of time, and really like the first part like goes cinematic, then goes environment preparation, and after that we start building the shots, and it's like it's not that long, especially when you have already an animatic. You can make the shots relatively quickly, but most of the time is environment, lighting, and composition. Just as I said, that's the key part of any commercial. Oh yeah, oh yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Wayne. Oh, wow, that's cool. Just like with the one webinar, I managed to change the workflow tremendous. That's cool. Oh, there's already like a little time left because I need to soon be departing for another call. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'm really happy that you enjoyed that one, and hopefully, I have answered most of the questions. Not any of them, not all of them, but at least which part. Let's maybe there are a few more questions. I have a couple of minutes. We can ask a few of them a little bit more, and this is it. Mm. How many people does it usually take? I think it usually from 4 to 12 people, depending on the project. Some of the projects can be done like by 6 people, by 4 people, but for this one, it was more than six. But yeah, pretty much it. Trying to make a switch. Any advice? Um, I don't know. If do what you love. If you love doing the car commercials, definitely go ahead and do that. If you feel like, meh, that RFIs maybe is more interesting to you, then stay there. If you'd like really to animate the cars, that would be um, a thing to do. Oh, that would be a separate masterclass. Don't we already have that on the Double Jump Academy? I think we did like something for games, environment creation for games. If there are none, I think there should be one. You're welcome, Philip. All cool. I think this is it for me. Have 3 minutes to join another call. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really liked this communication. That was really cool. Thanks so much. And I hope to see you on the next webinar, which we'll have probably sooner than 1 year from the previous one. Take care. Thanks, everyone. And hope you all get what you want and enjoy the masterclass and updates who already purchased it. Cheers. Bye, everyone.